G'day gang, Simo and Ed back again on the second day of summer in the UK.
Yes.
So it's all over tomorrow. And we're going to be talking to you about setting goals.
We are. Well, this is the second video in a two-part series. Last video we gave you half a dozen things to start thinking about, and we're going to now get into
The nitty gritty.
the stuff you've got to do to sort of almost bring it alive now. So this bit's going to be really important to you.
Cool. Simo and Ed, and you're watching the Fast Line Track Race Show, where we talk all things karting and business. So, we've already gone through, we've had a bit of think about the sort of revenue we want, the number of customers, thought about our average customer value, the KPIs we need, the lifestyle we want, some other stuff.
Yeah.
And we've got a deadline.
We have indeed, and I think most people, stop at this moment. No, I'm lying to you. Most people stop at the point when they go, I think I want 1 million. And you go, no you don't. Yeah, I mean you might, but it might be more than 1 million, might be less. That's not normally a really well thought through goal. If somebody sit down with me and they go, I want £963,842.16, I believe you. Right? But if you go, it's 1 mil, I'll go, oh, really? Can we just have a look at that for a minute? And most people, that's as far as they get. If you've done the other sort of 4 or 5 things that we've just mentioned there, I think that's further than most go. Most being more than half, by the way. So there's still lots of people that do this. But now, most people are sitting there, have you got a goal? Yeah, it's written down and I've got a little bit of clarity on it. And they go, that's great. And, it's up on the wall somewhere. And I think that's as far as people go. But I think that there's another 4 steps that we need to go through, and that will really just start to hammer home, and it might actually impact on the stuff that we did in the last video as well. So this is where now it really starts to come alive. So the first thing that you do now, after all the stuff you did in the last video, is you want to document your moments of progress, right? So this is where it feels real. You want to get a sense of that because you want to know that progress is being made. When you set out a goal for, typically we're suggesting about a year, slightly longer, but I wouldn't go more than sort of 13, 14 months on this exercise. It's okay to have your 3-year, your 5-year goals. Anything beyond that, I don't think it's too useful. There will be some areas that will be slightly different, but for most of you, I'd be amazed if even 13 months isn't just the amount that you need to be looking at. But during that time, it will really help you if you notice the progress you're making. It will give you that bits of energy and that spark. At the time of recording, we've just gone through 100 subscribers. Right?
Oh, yes!
So thank you to everybody
thank you
who's
very
subscribing.
much.
Now, did you see the energy there, folks? That's what I mean. So we've gone through 100, and then we've done that, and then I went downstairs, and I told the sales team, said, great news, we've gone through 100 subscribers and their energy was lifted up and they all feel like they're part of this. So all of a sudden, those sorts of moments really help lift the team. But we've created that. That wasn't like a tangible thing. We've just created something that wasn't there before. It's happened. We've got a lift from it and the team's got a lift from it. And you can do this with your goals as well. So what are the moments of progress? For us, 100 subscribers was significant, right?
Yeah, because it gave us some extra features, and we've been nudging along, and it was just a comment this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, we need, was it 14?
12 people, I think it was, or something.
12 or 14 this morning.
Yeah.
And Ed goes, put it in the Mechanics Academy, just ask them, say we've got some good stuff that will come off the back of this.
Yeah.
And boom.
So we've got a WhatsApp group for mechanics that work in kart tracks around the world, and they all go and share information. I follow about 1% of it because it's quite technical, but they love it. And we just ask them, will you mind following this video? It's related to the stuff that you do. We're forever thankful. And we got through 100.
Yeah.
So that's been really, really pretty cool. But you can decide what's meaningful for you in your moments of progress in your business. So where does it start to feel real for you? So I don't know what it might be, but let's just say you've got a new food item on your menu. It might feel real when you sell the first food to somebody and they buy it, and that would be fantastic. The next one might be that somebody comes back and on one of the testimonials they give for your go-kart track, they comment about what great food there was down there.
The chicken wings.
The chicken wing story. If you don't know what that is, you have to put a comment below. We'll tell you privately. But where does it start to become real? Is it when you get your 100th customer in month 1, which is typically maybe your quiet month because you're just ramping back up into your main season? Right? That could feel really real. Have you worked backwards from your goal? Is there certain sort of pinnacles when stuff happens? Is it when you get your 10th testimonial in one of the weeks in the first 6 months of the year? Is it? So whatever's meaningful to you. And I don't know what that is, but this is what I spend now quite a lot of time speaking to my clients about, is when does it get real for you? Like, see, now Simon's thinking about this because I saw the body language move and known you for too long. And as you start to put stuff like that in, and I've got this on my wall. Now, I spend a long time reading that. I've got, 5 sentences where I know when those happen this year, I'll feel like it's real. So I can be like a bear with a sore head some days, believe it or not. But it's because I'm like, when's that going to happen? But it focuses me back on to stuff I have to do to go and make my business feel real to me. This then stops those endless days and weeks going by as well, where you feel like you haven't achieved anything. And when you look back upon your goals, you realise I have, because I remember this happening and that happening and that happening. So there was progress being made. And it doesn't then matter if your ambitions and your goals seem far out of reach. You know you're on that path to make it happen. So this is a really, really cool way to go and help motivation. Helps go and get that energy as well back into your business, where you just know you've got to push it a little bit because, there's a goal here and we know what it will look like. And you can share these with your team if they're relevant.
Yeah.
So, the goal today, about 100 subscribers on the video, that's a very tangible, real goal that the salespeople can and did help with. So, really cool.
I think some of my moments of progress, some of them can be inputs to it.
Okay.
So some of my moments have been putting on new sales stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know it's key to achieving my goal.
Yeah, and we had that chat about how you look after your customers and what levels of service they want. We knew that to go and get that level of service in place, we needed to have more bums on seats doing this, and we described what that looked like. And when we had a look at it, we went, that's too much for the team we've got. We're going to have to take more people on. So that starts to be really, really tangible. We know where that will head. That's going to be really, really cool.
That might be just enough to plug that shortfall.
It might well be.
Moments of truth. Next.
Monthly income goals.
Yeah.
They're not quite monthly, but what I'll have a look at is 3 months from now, whenever that is for you, from day 0, right? Now, if you're starting this and it doesn't, and 3 months isn't on the exact quarter, just for the first one, I would just add in the extra month. So let's say you're starting this and let's say it's the end of July. So you're at the end of quarter 2 plus a month, right? Quarter 2 ended, the first 6 months finishes at the end of June. Let's say it's the end of July, and you're now thinking, I'm going to get these goals sorted. My first goal, I think I would make it a 5-month goal. And then once I've got to 5 months, every time I repeat this exercise, the first one I do will be 3 months, if that makes sense. So when I sit down, I want to get into quarters, but I want them to match up with the calendar ideally, because I think it really helps, just from experience of dealing with a number of businesses. I've dealt with a lot of businesses over time. And in there, that's just really simple. All I put in there is a revenue figure, and I put a date it'll be achieved by, and that's just month end. And that just gives me a focus. I've got a coach. When I speak with her, we speak in shorthand. They're really short sessions. She just go, right, what's your Q1 looking like? And then when I speak to her, I go, what's your Q1 looking like? She'll just throw a figure at me. And there's just a shorthand we've got. And that just comes from this. She doesn't need to be reminded of my moments where it feels real for me. Right? She knows them. She couldn't repeat them, because she can't remember them. But I've shared them. They're not a secret. So it's a real simple on this, revenue and dates. And I do that for the 6th month as well, because that's a nice tangible period of time. 2 90-day periods of time. And then the third figure I put in there is the 12-month date, revenue and date. Now I roll those forward.
Okay.
So we work typically in a year at a time. What I do is I have what's happening next quarter, what's happening quarter after, what's happening a year from now. And that just helps give me a little bit more of a focus for the distance, for the future. So they're 3 simple figures, but it just helps you get some focus around what's really... where it's all really heading.
Yeah.
just to make sure I'm in the right area.
Aye.
Yes, don't do that. You do something different.
I found, I've done this before,
Yeah.
and I strayed away from it and went to monthly.
Okay.
And I've come back to it.
Mhm.
I do it daily.
Do you? Do you still have a monthly and a daily figure?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's cool.
So the sales team
Yeah.
see a monthly
Mhm.
target. The sales team will have a monthly target.
Yep.
Right. Because sales are so erratic and there's some seasonality to it, even though we're global and we can switch between the southern and northern hemisphere, there's still fewer karting businesses in the southern hemisphere than there in the northern. So I've gone to a daily.
Yep. Okay.
And I've worked my gap out. I've worked it out as a percentage, and then I simply times last year's revenue by that percentage
Cool.
increase, and it tells me where I should be going, and then I track it daily.
We could do a whole video just on this little bit here, but we won't today.
No.
Another one for we must come back and do a video on this. Me personally, when I've got sales teams and it's my business, I give them fortnightly targets. And then, because there's already enough pressure in sales, having done it, so that means you can have a really bad week, right? But you can make it up in the second week.
Yeah.
Now, I can't let you go a whole month before I need to come and have a conversation. So that just means you've got enough freedom to do what you want within reason. But you haven't got so long that it's going to become a massive problem, and we're probably having a tough conversation.
Well, that's it. As I said, but the salespeople see a monthly figure.
Yeah.
I don't share that daily stuff
Okay.
a lot. Every now and then I'll show you. I'll show Tim.
Yeah.
But I use it so I can go, right, yeah, we've got an issue here.
Yeah, you're very good at that.
Let's just give the team downstairs a little push and get it back on track.
I'm having a conversation with you even this year where I've just gone, how's it going? And what's going on, because the body language wasn't quite there. And you said, it's just drifting away. And you knew before the figures told you, which is really impressive, because you've got a real tight handle on your business now. You've got a real sense of it from lots of different areas. One of them is the figures, isn't it? So yeah, very interesting. Let's dive in. There's too much we can talk about there. So you can keep this nice and simple, but I think it just gives you some indication how, once you get this clarity, what it can do for you. It's just massive. This is a very similar process that we've been through already on this business. Next one then, nice and simple again. What I start to do is I start to break down numbers of clients and their average customer value by a time frame. Now I do this monthly. That might not be relevant to go-karting. It might not be relevant in all situations. You've got to work out what that time frame is. Again, if you're struggling with anything, don't. Just comment or reach out to us. I'll come and give you a hand. It'll take us 30 minutes to work out what it is for you. But I work out number of clients and the average customer value by month for me. And I just stick that down into something useful. I don't do the whole year, hands up. I admit it, but it'd be very common to have 3 or 6 months in there that just shows me what it looks like. Or if I've got a specific goal, like so when I got married, I knew roughly what sort of revenues and everything I needed to go make that wedding really great. So I made that because that was a real strong focus for me. And I pretty much knew month by month what had to happen and who and what and that.
But that's the other thing. When you get a handle of these things,
you've got control.
You've got control. It's not okay, so your kids aren't having a great time at the local state school. They need some specialist education.
Yep.
Right. I found a really good school. It's going to cost you 12 grand a term. Most people go, fuck, 12 grand a term. How the hell am I going to find that? No. I sit there and I go, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
I've just got to get 10 more customers.
Yeah, and doing this, and these are the sorts of customers I want. And there's some over here I've been speaking to, and I really like them. And they sort of know when you want to work together.
And I know, when I go to find those 10 new customers, I can look. I can almost do it by the karts they have.
Oh, okay.
Looking at their website by the karts they have and go, yep, they're a good customer. We'll never crack at them.
What's more interesting, you probably don't realise this would be good on the video, but so listen in folks, but you don't quite talk like that. You look at their website and you normally make a comment like, oh, they should be buying from us. We could do lots for them. Now, you're not talking in terms of sales. You're talking about potentially reducing overhead costs, but possibly getting better products into them, possibly help and advice, because there may be something on there that you want to question about their track if we ever get to that station, whether that position where they allow us to have a chat about what's going on down at the track. You normally don't just talk about it in terms of sales, you normally talk about it in terms of helping them, which is really interesting, which is why I quite like going down to deepest, darkest Surrey and hanging out here.
It is all about helping them.
See, there you go. Not all business owners think like that, my friend. But this is refreshing. Lots of them are just into the figures.
You can make a sale,
yeah,
and that can be it.
Yeah.
But if you help someone out or make a friend, you've got sales for life.
You have indeed, and the right relationship to go and build.
I mean, some customers that I helped out during lockdowns and COVID are incredibly grateful, and we get more business from them.
I heard one conversation, I was blown away by it. The guy was practically almost in tears down the phone, so it meant a lot, didn't it? You only get to that level when you start to understand the numbers start to come alive at this point, which is why this bit is so important. The last bit that you need to have a quick look at is planned activity. This is the bit where it all tends to fall over in a lot of these things where you think about it and meditate on it and it will come. Well, I'm not sure it does, to be honest with you, but if you plan activity toward it, then guess what? I think it does then come to you. So now, the way I do this is I've got quarter one, so the next 90 days, then I've got the 180 days, and I've got my 12 months. So what I put in there is, quarter one is what does progress look like? That could be this quarter. I tend to do month. So what I do is you could do a quarter or 2 quarters, but I'm going to do planned activity. What does progress look like this month? So I just really focus on the first 30 days. And then I just say what I'm going to do in 30 days and make sure I tick everything off. And then quarter 2, or sometimes it can be a bit longer because I fudge it a little bit here, I'm just going to hold my hands up. I have projects in there. So planned activity progress this month is, I don't know, send out the 12 social media posts, for example, to go and generate some interest in having a conversation. That's a really cool progress this month, right, as an example.
That reminds me.
Very careful, but let's just go through this and we'll come back. And then projects is the larger project around, okay, so those posts fit into this larger marketing strategy that I've got. So now I'll have maybe a 6-month project. Few of my projects go over 6 months because they don't get delivered otherwise. I'm not saying that just because of me. There's just a problem, and I've mentioned it in a past video, but it was drilled into me from IT days when I used to manage huge multi-million pound contracts. Any project over 6 months has a very small percentage of delivery. So there's just a little clue in there about some of the stuff I tend to work with my clients to break stuff down to make it manageable. And then 12-month one, I write in the number of customers I've got by the value against them. So now you'll see that there's typically the value of that tends to rise over time and during the year. But I just write down, I don't name them, I just put client 1, client 2, client 3, and I just write down. Now, if you're a go-kart track, you may not be able to quite do that unless you know them, but you might say something like, I think if it's a 12-month one, I might do it fortnightly, but I'd probably do it weekly. But I might just write down 52 weeks and look at the customer numbers that need to happen to hit the goal that I first talked about in the last video. This will be quite often a point where you readjust your figures back through everything we've just discussed, but it just takes a few minutes. But when you write that down, you can work out how many customers you need to attract to your track to go and hit your goal. And just like you mentioned earlier, that's the point at where when you start to drift or you just start to notice there's something not quite right, you get to know about it really early on so you can adjust course. And that then pulls all your goals together. Now what would be really cool is if you can remember what I interrupted you.
No, you just reminded me about social media posts and I wanted to try something out that we talked about in a previous video. So I've got to plan that activity. So, good time to end.
Absolutely.
You told me it was going to be one video. We've got 2 20+ minute videos.
That's what happens when you get a batshit crazy Aussie and me together.
Oi. Well, it's goodbye from me.
Cheerio from me.
And we'll see you next week.
See you in a bit. Bye.